Construction is done, and today we're gonna put the studio back together. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, I'm Cole Caparoon, and thank you for stopping by for another video. If you haven't seen the last video where we rebuilt, there's not very many we's involved, it was all me, rebuilt this entire studio. We got soffits, we got new clouds, we got bass traps, giant bass traps, we got giant diffusers. This room is totally different, and it sounds totally different. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's a ridiculous video. But it ended up being too long to put the actual reassembly of the studio in that video. So today, I gotta figure out what gear. Look at all of that rack gear. I gotta figure out exactly where every single piece of this rack gear goes. We're gonna put it in the desk. We're gonna build a whole producer's desk right here with a bar top for bar stools and all that kind of stuff. And we're gonna get everything dialed in. Let's make this room functional again. Here we go. Oh, I lied. Before we get to that, there are links down below for every single piece of gear that you're gonna see in this video. Those links do go to Sweetwater. Sweetwater is sponsoring this video. So anytime you guys need any piece of musical gear whatsoever, you can jump on any one of my videos, click on any one of the links in the description below. Once you're on the site, you can purchase absolutely anything that you were gonna buy anyway. Costs you nothing extra, but it goes a long ways to help support this channel and help me keep making content like this. So thank you, Sweetwater, for sponsoring this video, and thanks to you guys for using those links anytime you need to purchase absolutely anything. All right, let's put this studio back together. Here we go. Okay, so now that this desk is back in here, we need to build a producer's desk. There's gonna be a producer's desk go right here. So let's get that put together. I'm gonna build it out of a few racks and a live edge hardwood countertop. That's the plan. Then we gotta cut it all up to make it work. So we'll see how this goes. I need a haircut, and I'm not wearing a hat this whole way through because I'm burning up. So you guys are just gonna have to deal with the fact that I need a haircut. These Gator Frameworks Precision, is that what they're called? Frameworks Elite racks are super legit. There's a little door that goes down here that I'm gonna put on after this. Solid plywood, not MDF, like really sturdy, really heavy duty. Highly, highly recommended. I'll put a link down below. Okay, so next up, we gotta see if we can tie 3 of these together to create one producer's desk. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so there's the rough concept. This is the same piece of wood you guys have saw me talk about. I made my desk in the B room. The table that used to sit back here in the corner, exactly the same kind of wood. We got some live edge going on. I wanted it to overhang off both sides so that way we could hang cables and headphones, and overhang off the back so we can put bar stools here. And then this will be the producer's desk where people can chill right here and listen, make notes, and do whatever. I'm out of breath. That thing's heavy. This is gonna be great. Let's get this bolted together. producer's desk turned out pretty good, I think. Okay, so it is time to hook up some gear. Let's get this a little bit. It's time to hook up some gear. We're gonna load up the racks and we're gonna start hooking gear up. But I'm gonna do it a little bit differently than I've ever done it before. So firstly, I had to get some custom snakes made because I've never had racks separated like this, and I needed really long stakes. So I hit up my friends at Jumpers and custom ordered some extra long DB25 to XLR male and female snakes. And here's the crazy thing. I talked to them on like Monday, asked if they could make me some custom snakes. They said, yeah, sure, because unfortunately you can't buy custom snakes, custom lengths from Sweetwater. So I went directly to Jumpers. They said, yeah, sure, send us a list. So I send them a list on Tuesday, and on Thursday, this box showed up full of custom length snakes. I have no idea how they pulled that off. Like shipping from Michigan? What? So all Jumpers snakes everywhere in here. They're really good quality. I'm really pumped about that. So we're gonna do this. However, the things that I'm gonna do differently this time, I'm gonna use a label maker, and we're gonna label every single snake. And then I'm gonna create a document to document what channel and on what snake every single piece of gear is. I don't know why I've never thought to do this before, but I've always wanted to like document stuff in this way because it never fails, or something's not working, this isn't working, I'm hooking this up, oh, I need to switch this out. And like if I could just pull up a document and be like, oh, that SPL-PQ EQ is on snake 3, channel 4 and 5. Like, that's what needs to happen. Let's get to work. Actually, I may have lied to you because the very first thing that actually needs done is I need to move the computer. In this first rack over here, I've got a rack shelf, and the computer and the hard drives are all gonna go there right next to the patch bays and the interfaces. So, I picked up this Gator Rackworks rack, or a knife, or a drill bit. That'll work. One ventilated rack shelf. That's where the computer is gonna sit. Okay, we got computer stuff in here. We've got the Glyph hard drive, the Mac Studio, a couple Switchcraft TT patch bays, and the Flock patch. I still have to work out what's going to go on what here because unfortunately I don't have enough I/O in the patch in order to hook everything up. We've got the Avid HD I/O. This will run all my hardware inserts, and we have the Avid Matrix Studio, which is going to handle all my room tuning, already is handling the room tuning, and all of the EQ and the Atmos profiles and all of that stuff. All the snakes are coming in over here. They go in the leg, they come up the inside portion of the leg, and over to all of the gear. So I've got 2 snakes over here, so ins and outs. So this is 8 channels of I/O, and I want to put a 500 rack right here, but there are 11 slots. So that means I need to run 16 channels of I/O over to this bay. But that means that I will have, what, 5 channels left over? So then I have to figure out what goes in here that uses up 5 channels to take maximum advantage of this space. And that's where things get a little complicated, trying to lay this stuff out, because not only do I want the stuff I use most closest to me, it's also about how much I/O is available in each bay. Now let me show you the notes that I'm doing. So here's kind of what I'm doing to keep track. This is basically how I'm making notes of all of my I/O, and then I'm labeling each one of the snakes, so that way I can get back to exactly, I know exactly what cable is hooked up to every single piece. So let's get a 500 rack in here and see what we can do on the rest. So we got all of the gear in the racks that's going to go in here. I'm sure this stuff is going to change from time to time. So next on the agenda, get the rig going. We've got the Matrix Studio hooked up already, but it's time to put the card, the HD card, in the chassis and get the HDIO going. Okay, figuring this all out and how to route everything has proven to be a little bit more challenging than I originally thought. And it's not because I don't know how to do it. It's because trying to decide what is going to go where and on what patch bay is challenging. Let me explain. Okay, so for instance, I've got all the stuff that I will use for mastering in the center. These are kind of some of my most important mastering pieces, along with some of this over here. I use my signature pre's when mastering all the time. I use the MBT and the Fusion when mastering all the time, and I occasionally will use the Serpent and the SPL Big. I use the SPL Big a lot, actually, in mastering. And so because I love the workflow of the Flock patch, like really, really, really love this for mastering and for mix bus duties, because it's just so easy to be like, oh, does the MBT work? No. Does the Fusion work? No. Do my signature pre's work? Yes. Do I, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so fast and easy to switch stuff. So I really want all of those things on the Flock. And then I'll put everything else on the traditional traditional Switchcraft patch bays, because I don't have enough flocks. But then the problem is I'm keeping track of what all snakes and connections are on what. And so we have got snake 3, channel 1 and 2, channel 3 and 4, channel 5 and 6. And then we go over here, and what I need to happen now is I need to have 7 and 8, and then the next snake, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, because I can only have that much on the Flock, which means I have to kind of reconfigure how all this is hooked up. And that's kind of what I mean by challenging. It's challenging to figure all of this out exactly, because I really want this setup to be so perfectly streamlined. I want this setup to be exactly how I need it to be. There's no room for improvement at all. And I've done my best to plan this out as much as I can, as I'm doing it, but this is something that I'm gonna have to change. So back out of the racks we come, and then we're going to tweak some connections and tweak all of our notes. Okay, so I've got all of that figured out. So we've got the SPLPQ. You know what? I'm going to give you a whole rundown when this is finally done, because who knows if stuff's going to change. So next is connecting all the interfaces to the patch bays and the patch bay, and all of these snakes to the patch bays, and then all of this gear here to the patch bays. This might take a minute. Okay, so there are a couple kinds of snakes that I'm using for this build. There's the super long ones that connect the interfaces and everything in this back rack to the front rack. And then there's some shorter ones that are connecting these patch bays and interfaces to the rest of the gear here in this producer's desk. And then the last thing that I need, I got all these from Jumpers, is these DB25 to DB25 snakes. So I picked up a bunch of these so that way they could connect the interfaces to the patch base. So these are nice and short. It'll be nice and tidy to patch everything in right there. And then the very last thing that I need, since I'm running the Avid Matrix Studio and all my monitoring is coming out of the Matrix Studio, I needed a way to get out those DB25s and to the speakers. So I ordered a bunch, well, not a bunch, 2 of these DB25 to XLR male. So I've got 2 of these, so that's 16 outputs to connect to all of the speakers. So short 3-footers. This will go right to the outputs of the Matrix Studio. And then these will connect directly to the speakers around the room. Let's get to hooking this thing up. There's one last detail. Ugh. Can you even see me? There's one There's one last detail. I need power. I need power conditioners for each one of these racks, and I really wanted power conditioners that had lights that shone down, because when it's just a real dim nighttime vibes in here, it's so cool, but you can't see the knobs on the gear. So picked up some of these Radial Power 2 conditioners. They have this cool panel. I think it's cool. We're gonna find out. This cool LED panel that shines down, and they have filtering in them. Same level of filtering that I've always had in my studio here. So my thought process here with this is to have a different power conditioner for each bay of the rack, because I really would like to conserve electricity and just not be wasteful, not deal with the heat that comes from the gear, not use electricity that doesn't need to be used. And not having gear on that's not being used will help me in my HVAC. I'll use even less energy because there's less heat being produced by gear, which means my air conditioning is running even less. So to me, this is a worthwhile thing to do. Next up, UAD2 satellite. This is the Octo. Now that I'm not running the Apollo anymore, I still need a way to run all of their plugins, because Universal Audio plugins are incredible and I'm not giving them up. This is the solution for that. It's not going to be much to watch. I got to put this somewhere down there on the shelf with the computer. I also had to get some longer DigiLink cables for the HDX card, so that way the chassis could fit somewhere in there. So I'm just going to kind of clean all that up and get all those cables put somewhere. I don't know where, somewhere. New room is cleaned up. Everything is put away. Gear is all hooked up. And so it's time. So I hope this comes through on camera, like just how vibey this is. So I've got the curtain, the old curtain put back up. That's something that I actually want to swap out for like some sort of rolling, I don't really know exactly what I'm going to replace that with. Ideally something motorized, but we'll see. But this is the nighttime vibes, and it's just, it's so vibey in here. And it's like, I really, really love this, and all of the work that it took to get these soffit lights like mounted up during construction. Like, it was so worth it. Got a little bit of stuff to clean up. I've got to figure out some cabling stuff, and I think I have to swap out the desktop HD X chassis for the rack mount chassis, because I just can't find a good place to put that. So that's probably going to change. But, and then we've got these lights here. I wish they were warmer. Like, I wish that there was like a warm white and a cool white, but they do change a bunch of colors. So you can go like green and red and whatever that is, and blue, and then white, and then white, like a few different shades of white. But works out really good. So I really, really like that. The other thing that I still kind of have to work out is the guitar wall. Like, how am I going to hook this up? Am I going to be okay with them being that far away? Maybe after Atmos goes in here, they get pulled in. I'm not 100% set on this yet, but this is dope. Like, I am so pumped on this, and it sounds so good in here. This worked out really well. These bar stools are nice and comfy, and like just the right amount of overhang, which is great. Got headphones here, which is great. And then got all the patch cables over here for the patch bays, which is great. I really like having the computer and the interfaces and all of this back here. I like that a lot. This is just awesome. I'm glad I took the time to figure out like the IO and what all could go here and be like the maximum functionality while also taking up the maximum number of channels. I'm glad I took the time to do that. Let's pull this down and get some light in here. Now, the other thing that I like is that all of these lights are now on the Philips system. So I've got a bunch of different profiles here. So like if I want to do maintenance or like general vlogging filming in here, we do this, holy exposure. And now these are all daylight balanced for filming everywhere. I don't got to set any lights up, or like this is my work profile, a little bit warmer, less clinical looking. My PM vibes profile, so that's what I had it on a minute ago. It's just, and then my PM work profile, and just like you can save however many scenes you want. They're all RGB, which is really, really awesome. Now there is one more detail that I'm not pumped on, and that's this row of cables. They're not even straightened out at the moment. The original plan was to cut a hole in the floor underneath this rack and build, the garage is under here, and build a trough that goes down and connects, so that way you could not see any cables. There wouldn't be any cables. But then since Atmos is going in, there's going to be like a speaker right here and a speaker right here and a speaker right here. And so I was like, let's just wait. I still got to straighten all the cables out, but let's just wait and see how those run around the speaker stands and see if it still bugs me before I start cutting this room completely apart, because that's going to be a project. But that's the rig, and I am super, super pumped about it. Now, the other thing that I still need to figure out is a monitor controller. Right now, since the Matrix Studio runs via Dadman, I'm just using my mouse on the Dadman software to control the volume and switch between profiles. I don't love that. I want a real knob. So that's the next thing that I need to figure out, if I'm going to get a Dadmon or if I'm going to get a Stream Deck. It has to play nice with stereo and with Atmos, so I need to figure that out, but I'm totally undecided on what to do. So now comes the fun part, actually working in this room. So I'm about ready to start the first mix, and I'm really, really pumped about it. I will probably do a video on how that went, the first mix in a room that, I mean, this is basically a brand new room because it sounds completely different than it used to, and it's set up completely different than it used to be. So I'll probably do a video on that, and then I will probably do a video giving you guys a gear tour, what's in my racks. So if you guys are into that sort of thing, drop a comment and let me know. If you want a more of an in-depth look at the gear and how it's all hooked up, subscribe so that way you don't miss that video. Turn the bell on too if you haven't done that yet, so you really don't miss that video. And don't forget, I will put links down below for as much stuff as I can in this video. It's time to get to work. I'm about to crank this mix out. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.